Well, Lexus LX 600, the Mac Daddy. We had the Lexus UX previously for test drive. Now we get to check out the flagship SUV, and all I can say is it's stunning, absolutely stunning. Look at how stunning this front end is. Obviously your signature Lexus front grille, and from a headlight standpoint, you've got projector with a LED DRL, headlamp washer. You've got fog lights also here as well, and front camera, Lexus badging. Let's head on around to the side. This is the F Sport trim specifically, so you've got some F Sport, you know, decals and everything throughout. Rims are 22 inches, which are just absolutely massive. I really love the sort of brush gloss gunmetal gray sort of color. You've got chrome black mirrors with the LED integrated turn signal here, camera for your 360 as well, side step running board, some other additional decals here on the side which look really nice. Let's give you a wider side shot. Obviously based on the Land Cruiser 300 as a platform, but I think design wise, styling wise, this just looks really nice with that sleek slope back. Heading on to the rear, that signature back end. Obviously LED, it's a continuous running backlight. You've got LED indicators, the LED badging as well also on the back. No sort of exhaust pipes, full. Obviously have the actual exhaust there, which is really nice. And underneath here you've also got a hitch package as well, which is if you want to tow anything, which is really cool. This has actually got hydraulic suspension, so it's set in the highest mode. Obviously keyless entry, soft closing doors, which are fantastic. Same on the rear as well. Look at that, that's awesome. That's luxury, folks. So if we go ahead, jump inside, let's start it up. See how it says high 2 just there? If we go over here, we can drop it down to high 1, can drop it down again to the normal position. So if we step outside, can have a look at that. And actually see, once I close the door, it's now lowering itself in the front, and then it'll do it in the back as well. So that's your normal ride height. So if we drop it down again to low, obviously front's dropped, and now the back end is dropping as well. So that's in your low ultra sporty mode position, which looks really cool. I just want to go over the engine details for you guys. Boom, son. So you've got a 3.4 liter twin turbo V6 engine that puts out 409 horsepower, 650 Newton meters of torque, mated to a 10-speed gearbox. Obviously being a Lexus, you've got, you know, all these beauty trims to keep everything covered up and clean and beautiful, but easy enough maintenance wise. You want to change the air filter, dual air filters, so you've got one on this side, and then over here you've also got another one. Easy access for your dipstick. But yeah, that's the front. Nice solid. I forgot to mention earlier, but like this is a really unique design with the hood. So it kind of concaves in the middle and it bulges out on the sides. And from a driving standpoint, it just looks really nice. There's no mistaking it for anything else. Obviously parking sensors, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the front. At the back, I'm sure we've got some parking sensors as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. and then you've got your 360 camera. What's really nice is the camera here for your rear view camera is inside the glass. So when the wiper actually goes, it's going to clean the camera as well. That's like a super clever design in that aspect. So let's jump on inside and check it out in more detail. First impressions, ultra luxurious, fantastic build quality, like just that is a solid door thunk. You've got seat controls here, 3 different presets, which is really nice. As I was mentioning, here you've got your camera button, which then comes up on the screen. You've got now a surround 3D view, which is really cool. I think we can change the mode again. There you go. And it's ultra high definition. I can see literally all the interlocking, everything. And if we put it into reverse, like your camera detail, like the backup camera and everything is just really good in that regard. You can change the view. You've obviously got top down, and it's even going to obviously, you know, put your lines, markers for wherever you're going. So kind of nice thing that they've done with the instrument cluster as such is you've got a digital display in the center. It's a little bit bigger than a 7-inch display. And then on the sides, you've got your traditional analog dials, which is very cool. Steering wheel controls, steering wheel, you've obviously got paddle shifters, which is really nice. And on this side, this is basically to control your, well, instrument cluster for the plethora of settings that you have to go through. So if we're on in, you know, telemetry info that's there, you've got your range, your average speed, how economically you're driving, tire pressure monitor, and then we can switch over to a compass, then your music, whatever source you're listening to, whether FM, and if we go over, this is for your lane designation. So if you've got on the steering wheel, you've got your active lane keep assist, it will do complete like start, stop, cruise control, radar cruise control, which is really nice. Here's all your radar cruise control things. So if I set it here, you can turn that on, your lane keep assist and steering assist. Heading onto the top screen. So the top screen is going to be for your Android Auto and CarPlay. It's a 12.3-inch display, uber sharp. You've got built-in maps, you've got CarPlay, Android Auto, everything there. And here you've got your start stop button, which actually has a fingerprint sensor built into it. So you can do a whole bunch of profile settings, everything. So it's like you can share the same key, but then obviously when you get in and your fingerprint reads it, it's going to configure all of your settings. Then when you move down from this screen, you've got the other screen. The other screen is a 7-inch display, and this is mostly for either car information or your AC controls. So I've currently got it on AC controls. You can adjust auto, fan speed, you can individually adjust the rear AC, you can sync the AC. You've got some additional options, whether you want it to be on Eco, S-Flow. Then going back from that, you can go to the car, and on the car you've got obviously your braking, how aggressive you're braking, accelerator, what drive mode you're in. Then you pretty much come to HVAC controls. I think if Danesh was with us, he would give it a 5-star rating for the hazard light position button placement, as he would call it. But yeah, you've got all your HVAC, this side, it's 4-zone climate control. So driver, passenger, and the rear passengers have individual controls as well. And one I think very cool feature is climate concierge. Climate Concierge utilizes your ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. I'm not sure if this has the option, but let's say you're in Canada with the vehicle. So when you set the AC temperature, it has a whole bunch of sensors within the vehicle, which you've got speakers, sensors all over, that measure the body temperature of each person in those 4 zones to maintain that temperature. So if you get in and you're super hot, it's going to crank up the ventilated seats, it's going to pump up the AC, all of those things. And then once it's reached that temperature, which is what it's measuring from your body, it'll then maybe drop the ventilated seats down, it'll lower the fan speed, it'll do all of that, which is really, really cool. Then you come on to basically your drive mode select space. And so from here, you can select your on-road modes. I'm just going to move back to the instrument cluster. So you've got Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport, Sport S, Sport S Plus, and Custom. And as you can see, the instrument cluster or the tachometer changes. Then when you go to multi-terrain select, now the vehicle is automatically increasing the height. It's going into high 1 position, which you can see here on the instrument cluster as well. And then you get your yaw angle and this information here. It increases the vehicle's height, and then you can go over and you can choose then your off-road mode. So you've got auto, you've got dirt, sand, mud, as well as deep snow. It turns off the traction control. It also turns off your safety pre-collision mitigation, a whole bunch of things. Then you've got DAC and crawl control. Crawl control is, if you've never experienced it as a feature, I highly, highly recommend to try it out. Maybe it's available on a lot of Toyota and Lexus products, but this system uses your ABS sensors on each wheel to detect the wheel slipping and then brakes it automatically. So as soon as it starts to spin, the sensor catches it, stops. It does it on all 4 wheels. It sounds pretty horrendous, but it gets you out of the most insane situations being stuck. It's one of the most incredible features. Actually, back in the day when I had the LX 570 for test drive, I took it to Liwa and people were thoroughly impressed by the functionality of that. And then heading on down here, you've got a 12-volt cigarette lighter socket, you've got 1 USB-C, 1 USB-A, ventilated and heated seats for both the driver and passenger. A little cubby hole storage here. 2 cup holders, quite nice. Automatic power brake if you want it to automatically hold the brake for you. Center locking differential, which basically locks the power going from the front to the rear of the car. Unfortunately, no rear locking differential, but I'm sure with all the different traction control modes that are there, you're gonna have a whole bunch of features to get you out of a sticky situation. Traction control, as mentioned, obviously want to turn that off for off-roading if you're in uber sticky situations, but highly recommend trying out the different modes to control the vehicle for you. And then here's your height adjustment. One thing I would like to add, which I am super happy about, I don't know if we will get a chance to test this in some very light off-roading, but when you used to put the vehicle, obviously it's in normal mode now. If you go off-roading and it only had 1 high position for adjusting the car higher, if you went over 40 kilometers an hour, as I remember, the car would automatically reduce back to its normal level, which was a nightmare when you were like coming up to a dune, which you want the front to be as high as possible, and then the car lowers itself. So you'd have to slow down, get it to high, and then hit the dune before the suspension came back to low. It was a real, kind of pain in the butt actually. But this, so far, I kept it in high 2. I did 60 kilometers an hour and it didn't lower, which I'm super, super happy about. But continuing on, I know I diverged a bit. You've got your wireless car charger here and your center console. Now, cool thing is, this side, you can open the center console. Guess what? This side, for your passenger, can open the center console. And even for people in the back, there is also a button right here so they can easily access the center console. And it's not only a center console, it's got the cool box. Yeah, baby. So really cool with that. Keep your soft drinks nice and chilly. It's pretty deep. It's not very long, but it's quite a deep access, which is quite cool. So that's not too shabby. And then let's jump on into the rear. Stepping into the rear, pleasant experience to be in. You've got one AC vent up here to adjust to your face. And then maybe you want to adjust the other AC vent to your body. You've also got ventilated seats in the rear, which is super cool, heated as well. As I mentioned, 4-zone climate control. Down here, you've got a little pop out for 2 USB Type-Cs, one 12-volt outlet as well. Very nice little storage bin. And I probably didn't mention Mark Levinson sound system throughout, like speaker, 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 like ridiculous amount of speakers. I think 23, 25 speakers, which is just insane. So really good sound system in that regard. And then if we have a look over here, you've got center armrest with 2 cup holders. This doesn't seem too Lexus-y, but in all honesty, it works. And you can also adjust the seat on the side. But let me get out so that I can show you what that looks like. Oh, and I forgot to mention you have these privacy screens as well. So they just pop off and leave it like that. Or if you want a bit more privacy, pop it on, just clips on like that. Really easy. But yeah, let me show you the seats as well. Seats are traditional. You've got a little lever here, pull it, seat drops down, flips up. Easy to get into the back, but this is only a 5-seater. I think in the F Sport trim specifically, it's a 5-seater configuration. In other markets in the world, you can actually get it with the 7 seats that pop up from the floor. And then you have the ultra luxury package, which has got the 2 captain seats in the back with the screen as well. So you've got basically a center console with a screen. That's really nice and comes in a really nice color. So you can obviously sit the seat further back like this, or you can keep it more upright as well. So plenty of leg. I mean, I know I'm pretty short, but plenty of leg room sitting behind myself. And yeah, overall, like, man, just the leather material is just really, really nice. But yeah, let's have a look in the back. Check out what it looks like. Obviously, it's going to have a power lift tailgate. And here we are in the back. Pretty simple design. You've obviously, here you've got a cover that's going to clip in like so here on the sides. If you've got any items you want to keep out of view, not that we need to worry about it so much here. And as you can see in other markets, you've got these rear AC vents. That's for the seats, which basically just pop out of the floor. And yeah, I mean, huge amount of storage space. Really good in that aspect. Shall we jump on in and actually take it for a drive now. As soon as you get in, nice and quiet. I've been using it in comfort mode. That I highly recommend is the ideal setting to be in. Suspension is super soft, but not that usual like we explained in the UX. It's something you have to experience from a drive standpoint. I've been using it for some time now. Let's first start off with engine-wise. So obviously mentioned 3.4 liter twin turbo V6, 409 horsepower, 650 Newton meters of torque with a 10-speed automatic. Now I feel power-wise, it's okay. It doesn't feel like it's underpowered or overpowered. It's kind of all right in that regard. But the gearbox, on the other hand, like if you're in comfort mode, I'm driving along and I smash the gas, it takes a little bit of time to kind of figure out, okay, what gear am I in? How many gears am I going to go down before it goes? But obviously, if you adjust it to your Sport Plus setting, that's way more responsive and you don't really notice that. And obviously, we've shown you this has got hydraulic suspension, so it can adjust your ride height. Currently driving it in normal mode. I've tested it, the previous version, that was actually one drawback to if you were driving it off-road, it would only allow you to remain in the high position until you were driving, I think like 40 kilometers an hour. So if you're trying to go like up a dune and you want to keep it in high mode, it wouldn't allow you to do that. So you'd have to be constantly trying to get it back to high mode, slow down, hit the dune, go up, and then rinse and repeat, which is quite a painful experience. Given this has got 2 levels of high, your high 1 position actually stays in high pretty much all the time, which is really good. And if you have it in high 2 position, which is the maximum setting, then it will stay in that position until 65 kilometers an hour, which is really, really great in that aspect. I'm just going over rumble strips at the moment. Comfort mode, soaking up all of the bumps, almost like it doesn't even exist. And then again, back to the steering feel, super light. Comfort mode, you can adjust it in custom to like weight it more. If you put it in sports mode from like a cornering standpoint, this is an SUV at the end of the day, folks. It's not a sports car by any stretch of the imagination. So it isn't going to handle as such. Maybe look at an RCF or an LFA if you can afford one. But yeah, drive-wise, really like it. It gives you that kind of like comfort. Like I say, that's what you want to experience it in most. And then sound, insulation, build quality, materials and everything is really, really good. And if you do have a bit of truck noise going on in the background, your 25 speaker Mark Levinson sound system will very easily drown that out. So you don't need to worry in that aspect. Seating and everything, that was one other major thing that I think has been drastically upgraded. The LX 570 seats was some of probably the most uncomfortable seats I've ever experienced. I don't know how they past manufacturing process, but these seats, which are a bazillion way adjustable, you even have like an under leg extension which is electronically controlled, you can find that optimal seating position and be comfortable for uber long drives, no issue. And obviously with the ventilated seats, no qualms in that aspect. Coming back to the interior, obviously super comfortable from a seating standpoint. From a technology standpoint, I really like the camera system. I mentioned it when we were first looking over. Super high detailed, but especially in those parking scenarios, like front parking sensors automatically switch on, engage, and give you a top-down view, which is really great. But then rear camera, I know we mentioned on the UX it didn't have an auto-dimming rear view mirror, which is a super basic, function that you would expect. This has got a flip down switch. I think first I'd seen it on Cadillac CT5, where you've got the regular rear view mirror. It is auto-dimming, but then if you flick the lever down as though someone is blinding you in the back of the eyes, it actually switches to a digital screen, which you can adjust the pitch, the angle, the zoom, whole bunch of features, which is really quite nice. I prefer the analog with auto dimming. We've obviously got sunroof, the wireless charger. It's again that whole Lexus experience. You get in, it's got all of those great features that just work and are at your comfort. Climate concierge, honestly, you get in this thing, it can be 40 degrees outside, detects you're in the seat, what temperature you've set, smacks on the ventilated seats, adjusts everything to keep you at that optimal temperature. Actually had a passenger jump in the back as well, detected someone seated there, what's the temperature set at, put the rear ventilated seats on, adjusted the AC. It's got two different AC vents, trying to keep that passenger at the optimal temperature. If you kind of sum this up, like where does the Lexus LX 600 sit? Yes, you can be looking at American things like Lincoln Navigator or Cadillac Escalade, or BMW X7, X6, Mercedes GLS. All of those vehicles don't have the suspension that this has, the hydraulic suspension, which for our market, if you want something to say, hey, I want to go to Leawood for the weekend, yes, it's not going to be the most capable off-road, but it's going to get you there. It'll get you back in comfort all at the same time. I think this is where the LX sits really, really nice. If you can change the wheels, make them a bit smaller, it's going to seriously improve its off-road performance. But then jump on the highway, 160 kilometers an hour, smooth sailing. Safety features, I didn't even mention, it's got a plethora: lane keep assist, active cruise control, stop start, blind spot monitoring, cross traffic alert, you name it. All the features you can possibly imagine are there. Again, that Lexusness when it comes to the lane keep assist. It's not like uber aggressive where it's going to yank the steering wheel to keep you in your lane. It just gives you a little vibration, like, hey, by the way, you're drifting out of your lane. Do you want to stay in the lane? So I really like that aspect as well. And I think the elephant in the room at the end of the day is the fact we come to is the price. Drum roll, 29,000 dirhams for this spec, which is the F Sport 5-seater configuration. Obviously, if you're looking at the ultra luxury or the VIP edition, which has got the captain seats in the back, that's going to be more expensive. But again, if you buy a Lexus, from my previous experience, I looked at LX 570s. The resale value, it retains it. The cost of ownership, that's one thing I know a lot of people probably don't do. Let's say you're going to own the car for 5 years, 20,000 kilometers a year. How much is the vehicle going to cost you to own it up to 100,000 kilometers? I would hedge my bets that owning the Lexus is probably not going to cost as much as some of the other brands out there. So what do you think overall? Do you like this new format? It's unfortunate we no longer have Danesh with us. Oh, just for Danesh, hazard button position, I think he would rate 5 stars. It's right here, front and center. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please share it. If you've got any questions, do let us know. We'll get back to you and answer them. And I'll see you on the next video.